Hey guys, happy Friday. Here is another 1 hour of Pilates practice. We will begin lying down on our back. So once you get on your workspace here, we'll begin with the knees bent and feet grounded to the floor. Some options, you can have the knees and feet hip width distance and narrow stance. Or you may decide to take your feet out a little bit wider, let the knees fall in together. That sometimes helps our lower back open up a little more. Your arms, have them lengthened down fully, but angled away slightly, away from your sides. Have the palms facing up so that the shoulders can roll open. The crown of your head reaches the back of your workspace and the chin draws down so it lands fist distance from your chest. Let the eyes close here, bringing the focus inward. This is our time to connect our mind and body and find focus and concentration. Begin by taking a deep inhale through your nose and a slow and steady exhale out through the mouth. Again, a deep breath in. And when you exhale, make sure that you empty out completely, as we tend to hold a bit of the breath right at the end. Your inhale will pull from the pit of your belly, drawing into your ribs and lifting all the way into the top of your chest. When you exhale, you'll empty then from the top of your chest, pushing down through the ribs, and then that final squeeze out through your lower belly region. Breathing in, feeling the ribs opening out, filling up the lungs. Squeeze the breath out and feel the ribs knit back to midline. Draw back into your center. Soft, easy inhale. A more stronger, powerful, audible exhale through your mouth. With the inhale, the belly will rise. Your muscles in the core are disengaged, relaxed. When you force the breath out with power, really starting to feel those muscles contract, right? This engagement of the core, firming up of your belly. I want you just to stay with this breath and feel and notice the difference between the inhalation and the exhalation. Sensation, activation, and movement. Subtle, but there. So take this time to build the relationship up between your breath and your core. See if you can pull your abs in even deeper each time you breathe out. And then when you pull all your focus to this, it helps you to clear your mind so that you can stay in the moment, in the present time. Let's take 4 more cycles of breath. Couple more. One last time, inhale it. Slowly open your eyes as you exhale. Then as you breathe in next, slowly turn your head and look over your right shoulder. Then on your exhale, transition to look over your left shoulder. Take your time. Then breathing in, the head turns and looks over the right shoulder again. Exhale over to your left shoulder. Two more in each direction. Make sure as you move the head through side to side that the head stays in contact with the floor the entire time. That you're finding your fullest range of motion within your cervical spine. And that you stay with the tempo of your breath. One more to each side, over to the right, breathing in. Over to the left, breathing out. And then taking your head and returning it to its centered space. Once it has centered, you're going to interlace your fingers and then take your hands behind your head. Really cup the base of your skull. So the thumbs are just directly underneath right before the neck begins. And then you'll lift your elbows up to the sky, the arms closely framing your head, using your arms for support. So to allow your head to really sit heavily in the hands. Let's take an inhale. When you exhale, use your arm strength and hands to lift your head off the ground and press your chin into your chest. So it's a small lift here. And then return the head to the floor again. Breathe in. Again, exhale. Let the head stay cradled in the hands as you lift the head and neck off ground, chin to chest. You'll feel this between the shoulder blades traveling up into the neck, and then release the head down, breathing in. Let's do that once more. Exhale. And then go ahead and gently release your head to the floor. Once your head has released, take the hands away. Lift your arms up to the sky. Stack right above your shoulders. Palms face each other. Hands are shoulder width distance apart. Moving from the shoulder joint all the way up to your fingertips as one solid unit. Inhale, lift the shoulders off the ground and reach your fingertips closer to the sky. Shrug up. And then exhale, plug down. Again, reach up on an inhale. Plug in. Exhale. Let's do 2 more. Just kind of working into the shoulders here. But also noticing the anchoring, right? Keeping your joints rooted in. Shrugging up, we generally want to avoid this during our practice. But when we anchor down, this is what we want to achieve through. Keeping here, breathing in now, take your arms and reach them overhead. When you exhale, circle the arms out and lower them beside you. Working on the mobility next of the shoulders. Breathing in overhead, firm up that belly. Imprint the spine. Exhale, circle out and down. Let's do a couple more here. Inhale it up and overhead. Sweep out and down. Once more, inhale it. Exhale, circle out. Lower down. Stay here with your arms and take an inhale. Firm up your belly and then lift your feet off ground. Exhale. Slowly pull the knees to your chest and place your hands on your knees. Start to draw circles with your legs here. Nice and slow. Use your hands to guide the movement so that the hip flexors don't grip and take over. Rolling and massaging out the lower back region, your SI joints just above your tailbone. Take then a moment to pause, reverse the direction, breathing in deeply, exhaling completely. And then start to bring the legs into still. Continue to use your hands. Now breathe in, separate your legs and open them as wide as you can. When you exhale, use the grip of your hands to hug your legs up in closer towards your armpits. Then release the hug, but don't lose contact of your legs. And then on your exhale, join the legs together again. We'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, legs open wide. Keep them wide. Exhale, hug in and up. Release the hug, not the contact. And then draw the legs in together again. Once more, inhale, opening. Exhale, hugging in. Release the hug, not the contact. Bring the legs together again. Next, on your inhale, separate the legs again, but on your exhale, circle the legs down, around, and in. Opening, inhaling, circling through, coming together, exhaling. 2 more of these. The circular movement helps to massage out the hip flexors and work a little bit more with the mobility of the joint. Open on an inhale. Sweep through, exhale. Pause here. Knees stay close to body. Arms open out to T. Make sure your palms are still faced up. The backs of your arms, shoulders, and shoulder blades are anchored for support. Take an inhale. Firm in your belly. Exhale. Lower your legs over to the right. Look over your left shoulder. Ease it in. Then hold your twist when you breathe in. Again, strong core to help lift the legs and head up through center as they transition to the other side. Legs to left. looking over right shoulder, but keep backs of both shoulders rooted to floor. Breathe into your twist. And then again, lifting and transitioning to the other side. Land here, and then take a deep breath in. Firm it up. Travel over to the other side. Then land and stay. Inhale. Exhale. Again with transition. Let's stay here for a breath in. This time on your exhale, lift legs and head just to center. Once you have centered, grab your right knee with both hands and stretch your left leg to the floor. Flex your left foot to anchor the leg down, and then just hug your right leg closer to body. Actively draw the shoulders down to the floor and away from your ears. Stretching our glute and lower back with the hug. We'll draw circles with the foot, which will help warm into the ankle. Good. Reverse direction. The foot then comes into still. Let's rebend the left knee, take that foot to the ground. Then release your right knee, take that ankle over the left knee and flex your right foot. Right hand to inner thigh, push the leg out, which opens up hip space. From here, you can come into any variation of the figure 4 that feels best for your body. If you do choose to hold your left leg up, make sure the shoulders didn't strain to your ears to do so. That may mean sliding your hands down closer to the hip rather than the knee. Make sure the chin also didn't lift up to the sky. It still stays fist distance from chest. If you'd like to offer a movement, make sure it's very slow and mindful. You may even decide just to lean a bit to one side and hold that space if that feels best for you. Breathe deep into that right hip and just notice and feel sensation. Good. 3 more slow cycles of breath here. Once more. Good. After that last round of breath, recenter your body if it had shifted. If you lifted your left leg up, return that foot to the floor. Line that foot up with its hip. Then I'd like you to uncross your right leg and lift that leg to the sky. Hold the back of the leg with both hands. Anchor your tailbone to the floor. Start to press the back of the leg firm into the hands, away from body. Keep that energy. Now use your hands to draw the leg in closer to body. Push-pull energy. Hold here and breathe into the back side of the leg, the hamstring. Good. As you hold, start to flex your right foot, heel to sky. And then point your toes. Again, heel to sky. And point. And we'll do that one last time. Flex the foot. Point the toes. Keeping the toes pointed. Release the hands, arms down at your side, and then the leg is pulled a bit too close in because of the stretch, so we just push it away a little bit, enough so that the knee stacks above the hip. And then with the toes still pointed, externally rotate that right thigh so the hip joint in the front body opens up as well. On an inhale, I'd like you to take your right leg, begin to slowly lower it towards the ground. Lower it to a level that you can maintain and control. Then firm up your belly, use power of exhale to lift the leg slowly back up. Stack just the knee above hip. Again, lowering with resistance. Imagining your leg were moving against current. Use mostly core, less leg to lift back up. We'll just do 2 more here. As you're lowering the leg, stretch out through the toes and lengthen them forward. And then navel draws down the spine, lifting leg up slower than you'd like to. One last time. Inhale. Control it on the way down. And then not swinging up, but pulling up slow. Exhale. Once you have, bend your knee, take your foot to the ground. Rest. So we're going to do all of that on the other side. Starting with the left knee drawing to chest, both hands holding on, and stretching the left leg to the floor, flexing the right foot to anchor the leg, then hugging your left one in closer to body. Shoulders drop down and away from the ears. Breath is big, breath is full. Stretching again the glute and lower back. Adding to this, keeping the hug, circle the left foot. Warm up your ankle. And a reverse direction. Good, then take the foot into still. Let's rebend the right knee, ground the foot to the floor. Take your left ankle, cross it over the right knee and flex your foot. Your left hand to the inner thigh, pushing out gently, opening up space to hip. Once the hip has opened up, come into any variation now on this side. Remember, it does not have to be the exact same thing you did on your other. Our sides are different, right? We are, as humans, imbalanced. And sometimes one side needs something different than the other, and allowing for that. Breathe deep and make sure your attention has shifted over to your left hip. Your focus on feeling, and shift and change if there is any. Good. Take 3 more slow cycles of breath here. After completing your last, if you had movement or had shifted yourself, return to center. If the right leg were lifted, returning that foot to the floor, line it with its hip. Take the left leg and reach it to the sky. Hold the back of the leg and anchor your tailbone to the floor. First, you're going to push the leg forward and away from the body into the hands. Then the hands are going to be used to draw the leg in closer to the body, creating and maintaining push and pull energy within the body here. Good. As you hold stretch, flex your foot, heel to sky. And then point your toes. Again, flexing of the foot, pointing of the toes. And we'll do that one last time. Heel to sky. Point the toes, but then keep your toes pointed. Hands release, arms down to side. Leg has to draw out a little bit, and then you externally rotate your thigh. On an inhale, take your left leg, begin to lower it downward. Exhale. Really force your abdominal muscles to do the work. Inhale, lowering down with resistance, as if leg were moving through molasses. Exhale, belly pulls down deep, leg slowly stacks back up. We'll do 2 more here. Lengthen, not only out through the toes, but out through the front of your hip. Reach, and then pull up. Core power. Last one here, make sure that thigh is still rolled open as you come down on it. Inhale. Pull up nice and slowly on the exhale. Once you have stacked, bend your left knee, ground your foot to the floor, rest. Wonderful. We are going to move through some subtle core exercises next. So all of these exercises, you don't necessarily have to engage the core to do these movements. However, it's important and vital that we teach our bodies to do such. Our core supports us in many ways. It supports us through stabilizing our spine and our center. It helps us to control the movements of our extremities, our arms, and our legs. Our core also helps us to hold positions so that it doesn't pull any tension into other areas. So our core wears many hats. And to find your subtle core, which we're going to practice with next, is kind of important, right? So that way we can always tune in and tap into this guy right here, off the mat as well, when we're doing simple movements, day-to-day things like walking, right? Holding up good posture, balancing, say climbing up a ladder, carrying things, picking up a heavy box. And especially now that the weather starts getting nicer, gardening, right? Gardening can take a really big toll on our body. So using certain muscles to support other parts will be key. All right, enough about that spiel. Let's go ahead and take our legs to tabletop position. We're going to stack the knees directly above the hips. More often than not, we pull the knees in closer. Why? It's easier. The core does not have to work here when the knees are in too close. And when I mean too close, it's very subtle. It's literally just pulled in past the knees that it has ease. So make sure your tailbone roots straight to the floor. The knees are stacked, and you'll feel when the knees are stacked, the core actually tightens right up to protect the lower back in this space. And also to prevent the hip flexors from taking over, which is also another common thing. So be very aware of that. Arms can be close beside you, pressed in firm. Your arms will be helping here as a support system. So make sure they're active. The arms can also instead come out to a T for a little extra added support if you need. You want to make sure that your legs maintain this 90-degree angle. So imagine legs themselves were locked in this place. The mobility and movement does stem right at the hip joint. On an inhale, you'll start to take your right leg and begin to lower it downward. Find a level again that you can maintain. Belly strong, pulling up slow. So very similar to what we just did with that single leg, although it was straight at the time, lowering and lifting. This one, though, does require a bit more core power, as when the one leg is moving, the other leg doesn't, but it's also having to be held up. It's not grounded and supported itself. Our core has to do it. Left side again, coming down on an inhale. Really use a powerful exhale. Let's do one more to each. Right side, again, try to eliminate the hip flexor grip here. Belly strong, draw up. Once more, left leg. Once it has stacked, draw both knees in, hands on knees, and just gently rock side to side. Okay. So our next core exercise I want us to work on will also throw in coordination. So that's another key factor. We're going to be working with opposite extremities, arm and leg. So our mind sometimes can get confused of directions of movement. So just being very mindful of your body. Also, what happens, because this will be a multi-step movement, instead of being in the movement we're on, we often tend to anticipate the next thing that's going to happen. So when that does occur, we tend to lose sight of course, the moment we're in. So we can lose alignment or lose core strength or lose stability. So be mindful, even though you may know this exercise like the back of your hand, try to treat it as you've never done it before, really listening and tuning into the cues and really listening and tuning into your body form. All right, we're going to start with both feet grounded, knees bent, arms stretched down long at your sides. So as I had mentioned, we're starting with opposites. We will begin with the right arm and the left leg. When you breathe in, at the same time, your right arm is going to lift and stack above its shoulder. Your left leg is going to lift into tabletop, knee above hip. Excuse me, kitty. Come here. Over this way. Okay, sorry guys. I just want you to see my body in the space. Stack, stack. Then with your next breath out, I'd like you to extend the arm and leg away from your midsection. So arm is going to reach behind you. Leg is going to stretch out in front. Both the arm and leg do not touch the floor at all. Then on your next inhale, you're going to restack the arm above the shoulder, pull the left leg back up to tabletop. And then when you exhale, take the left foot to the ground and the right arm down to the floor beside you. You're back to your starting position. Then we'll switch to the other side. Your left arm lifts and stacks above shoulder, right leg pulls up to tabletop. Exhale, extension away. Point those toes, feel the length out through fingertips and the foot. Pull back up and in on an inhale. Return down to the floor, exhale. Other side again, inhale, lift to stack. Exhale to extend away. Stabilize your midsection, imprint your spine. Draw the arm and leg back up to stack. Exhale, return to starting point. Again, left arm, right leg, inhale. Exhale, be mindful of all the points here. Breath in to come back up. Breath out to lower down. Let's do one more to each. Breath in, lift and stack. Exhale, extension. Inhale to pull back in, pull back up. Return down as you exhale. Once more here. Inhale, lift and stack. Exhale, extension. So this is isolation of movement here. Arm and leg move. Everything else is like a statue. Return to the ground. Pause here. So we were using mostly our abdominal strength to stabilize so that we didn't wobble around as those other parts had movement. From here, let's draw the knees back into the chest. Place your hands on your knees. We're going to be working next with same side. So similar movement, shortened steps, and the breath flip-flops. So imprint your spine and anchor down to support you. Pull the belly in and up, hands on the knees. We'll start with our right side, the arm and the leg. So on an inhale, the leg now extends forward, the right arm reaches back. And then on your exhale, pull back in. Left side, quiet everything else within you. Just the arm and leg move out, and then they pull back in, breathing out. So moving very slowly here. Right side again, reaching away. Exhale. So when we move one of our sides, we get thrown slightly off balance. So make sure the back body is rooted firm to ground. Let's do two more to each. If you want more heat, head and shoulders can be lifted. Right side. Left side. Good. One more to each. Right side. Lengthen away. Left side. And then recover here, however that looks like for you. Right. So while these are very subtle exercises, they're still very effective. Instead of working more of the major, bigger muscle groups, we're really tuning and tapping into the fine, stabilizing muscles. So while it may not give you tone and definition, although that is a nice benefit to this practice, we're strengthening all those deeper rooted muscles that, again, help us with posture, with balance, and with movement. All right, let's move in a little bit more deeply here into the practice. We'll keep the knees drawn in. Arms, few options can be close down beside, pressed in. More support to a T, pressed down firm. Less support, a little bit more of a challenge, lift and stacked, but make sure the shoulder heads are plugged down. Leg extensions, let's take an inhale. Very slowly, both legs are going to reach away from your body on the exhale. Firm up that belly, protect your lower back. The knees are hip flexors to draw the knees in again on an inhale, preventing yourself from sliding around on your mat space. Again, extension of legs, closer to the floor, more intense, higher to the sky, more modified. Draw knees back in again on an inhale. Let's do four more. 4. Draw in. Again, if you do want a little bit more heat, head and shoulders can be lifted. Extension of the legs. If the head is lifted, draw knees to forehead when you pull back in. 2 more times. Draw back in. With this last one, you're going to extend the legs. Keep them extended. Now on your inhale, just the right knee draws in. Then exhale, switch your legs. Left knee and right leg long. Inhale to switch. Exhale to switch. So now we have dual movement here. One leg is doing one thing, the other is doing something different, right? And they're moving at the same time. So we have to bring even more focus now to our core to make sure the rest of our body is stabilized when there's multiple movements happening. Breath in, reach those toes, pointed toes, strong long legs. 2 more cycles. Inhale. Exhale. One last time. Breath in big. Breath out. Whichever leg is long, pull it into body. Hands on your knees. Rest and recover. So we won't move really fast or we won't move really big, but we certainly will be working. Okay. Let's go ahead and lift our legs up to the sky next. Pointed toes again for length and strength, but if you need to, you can always have a little bend in your knees if that helps to release any pressure in the hip flexors or the lower back. If you do bend your knees, make sure you readjust. Knees above the hips always. Your feet more than likely will always be slightly more in front of. Okay. We are going to work with corkscrew. Movement of legs, but it's an abdominal strengthener. Feel the backs of your hips right now. They should be equally rooted and firmed to the floor. We never want them to seesaw or wobble, so we're using our powerhouse strength for the stabilization of our hips and our pelvis. Small movement. I'm going to take a quarter turn so you can see my legs a little bit better in this position here. On an inhale, I'd like you to shift your legs slightly over to the right to start. When you exhale, draw a small circle down, over to the left, and then restack the legs. Always pause at the top. We reverse it now. Left side starting on an inhale, circling through with a strong exhale. Now we'll turn quarter turn so you can see it this way. Inhale. I don't want the backs on my hips shifting, so root them down. Tight, tight, tight. Stack at top. Inhale to one side. Exhale for the follow through, circular movement. Again, inhale. You can increase the size of your circle, but as long as you can maintain that control, yeah? Inhale to start it. One more to each side. Make your movement slower and smaller if you feel that you're a little unstable. One more time here. Inhale, shifting. Follow it through. Pause at the top. Draw your knees in, hands on knees. Any movement you'd like here that helps you recover and release. All right. So we're slowly starting to build up some strength here. We're going to move next into our roll-ups. So let's take our feet to the ground and then extend the legs all the way onto the floor. Ooh, sorry, buddy. The dog's right there. Okay. Push out through your heels, lift your toes up to the sky, make sure the inner edges of feet run parallel to each other. If the toes splay out, we lose the energy to our midline, which is really important, right between our thighs. So imagine there was like a narrow block between your legs you were squeezing onto tightly. Hey, bud, what are you doing? Arms are going to reach overhead behind you. The palms faced in, hands shoulder width apart. And then oftentimes the ribs tend to pop here. So remember, seal the ribs down, zip your pubic bone to your navel and feel the spine imprint and the core activate. We begin. Start to peel your body off the floor, inhaling. Exhale around the tips of your shoulder blades to stack your body up to seated, to then hinge forward to stretch over the legs. Ease into this. This is a deep, deep, juicy back body stretch. So take your time. Really let the head, though, hang heavily eventually. Stacking tall when you breathe in. Roll down nice and slowly on the exhale, tucking the tailbone, scooping out the belly, rounding out the spine, and articulating on your way down. Never let your legs relax. We start again. Breathing in, the lift begins. Pausing here for a moment. I've been doing the roll-ups via recorded without verbally cueing after a couple because I really want you to hear and focus on my breath. The breath in the practice is 50% of the work, right? So half of what you do is important that it's the breath that is doing it for you. This particular exercise is a really prime example of when, why, and how to breathe. So if you can tune in and listen close, we'll do 2 more roll-ups, word free. One more time. Resting here. Right, so if you could hear, I had an audible exhale. It was still fairly strong because it helped to engage my core. However, the rate at which you release the breath through your mouth is important as well. It's strong, but it's also slow and steady. So the more tightly you purse your lips, right, creates a smaller hole, right? Less air pushes out over time, right? So it elongates your breath, and then it allows you to move at a slow pace and really stay with the movement, right? I had my exhale all the way into my forward fold. And that's one of the trickier parts, right? Is to link the breath and movement to really coordinate and be kind of one with your body. It takes time. Never get discouraged. Oftentimes, especially with that roll up, we focus either mostly on the breath and then we lose our movement, or we focus more on the movement and we lose our breath. And it takes a while to get those to melt together. But just so that you can really hear and perhaps kind of find that within your own body. All right, guys, let's draw the knees into the chest from here. I want us to rock up to seated so that we can work on some seated exercises next. So once you've rocked up to seated, I want you to extend your legs forward in front of you. They do not have to be fully extended. I understand sometimes, particularly for me too, I can't really sit totally upright when my legs are fully lengthened. So I have to bend my knees a little bit. It releases my hip flexors. I have really tight hamstrings. It kind of opens up for more lift in my torso. So if you find that also within yourself, certainly feel free to do that. Either way, though, I want your feet to be flexed always. I want your legs to be squeezed together tight. Our arms are going to move out to a T. I want you to spread out the fingers. If we provide energy in every little nook and cranny and crevice within our body, that will help us. If we decide to let the arms come out and our hands hang heavy, that's just going to allow the rest of my body to follow that. That's going to disengage your muscles. Excuse me. That's going to hinder your alignment and your posture. So we reach wall to wall. And then we also, between the shoulder blades, draw in, draw down the back. When that happens, it activates the back body muscles, but it also plugs our shoulders into their sockets so they're not scrunched up to our ears. Then the belly pulls in and up to support all of this. Take an inhale. When you exhale, take a slow twist over to your right. We want to stabilize our pelvis, our sits bones, our legs, and make sure the arms don't actually really leave their position. The only reason they're moving is because my torso, my midsection had, not because the arms have moved independently. Center when you breathe in. Take it to the other side. Imagine you're squeezing a lemon right between those shoulder blades. Never let that lemon get lost. Center on your inhale. We are strengthening our shoulders, our upper back muscles due to the hold of our position. We are strengthening our waistline or the obliques due to the movement, using our core power to turn the body from one side to the other. Center when you breathe in. Let's do one more to each. Get taller as you rotate. If your legs are shifting, that's an indicator you've rotated too much for the body. Center on the inhale. So all you do is you limit your range of motion. It feels like you're not doing as much, but in actuality you are, because all the muscles have to work harder to get a smaller movement. Center when you breathe in. Stay here and draw circles with your arms. Now keep working the upper back, the shoulders, the lats, and your traps. Belly in and up. Again for posture. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Let's pause. Reverse direction. Breath in, breath out. 5, chest up and shoulders down. 4, legs tight. 3, keep reaching through fingers. 2, 1, and then gently melt the arms down. Wow. Feeling that within the shoulders, yeah? Let's go ahead and bend the knees, ground the feet. I'm going to take a quarter turn so you can see a little bit better this way. A stretch for our upper back. Wrap your arms tightly around your legs and then grip your arms firmly with your hands. This tight grip is actually really important for the stretch. From here, I'd like you to press your chin into your chest and never lose that. Start to scoop out your front body, round your back body, pull yourself away from the legs, but at the same time, feel your arms press firm into the back of the legs. So the more you do that in both directions, the deeper pull and stretch you can achieve in your upper back region. Then I'd like you to breathe into that space. Deep inhales, long exhales. Again, a breath in big. Breath out to release. Once more, inhale. On your exhale, start to pull the belly back into the thighs as you restack the spine. Release arms, and let them lower beside you. I apologize for my cat. It's his bathroom break, and he's a devil in the litter box. So, sorry if you're getting distracted by that. I am a little bit. Okay, so I like us to move next into tabletop position. Match your hands and knees. Remember to always spread the fingers and lightly grip the ground with your fingertips. Those two things really help support your wrists. Make sure the wrists are beneath the shoulders. The knees are underneath the hips and the legs are hip width distance apart. Take a quarter turn here so you can see a little bit on the midsection of our body. So instead of letting the kind of upper body relax, notice my belly started to sway to the floor. I've collapsed into my shoulders, and my lower back is now swaying and my sits bones are angled to sky. All those things feel good at the moment, but in terms of activation of body over time, doesn't quite work. So we pull the belly in and up. We push out of the arms. We flatten the back, but we send the heart forward. And then looking slightly forward also will help with this. Take an inhale, and now let the belly hang again. Actively lift your heart and your tailbone to the sky. Arch the back, but don't collapse, right? Still find the lift out of the arms. Then as you exhale, push into the ground with your hands, knees, and your feet. As you scoop out your belly, tuck your chin towards your pubic bone and pubic bone towards your chin to round your spine. And then return to a lift on an inhale. Arch the back, lift tailbone. Exhale, belly in, belly up, rounding, tucking in, tucking under. Inhale, find your lift again. We're going to add a bit to this now. So when you round your back, press just the tops of your feet and hands into the ground and lift your shins and your knees off the floor. Keep rounding your body, push. Return the shins and the knees down. Inhale, find the lift. Again, tops of feet and hands press down, and then shins and knees float up. Still tuck pubic bone to chin, chin to pubic bone. Return down, breathe in, lift. One last time, exhale, tops of feet. Hold this space. 3, belly in, belly up. 2, keep pushing away from the ground. 1, and then knees and shins down. Sit back to a child's pose. Take your elbows to the floor, lift your hands off, and then roll out the wrists. All right. Let's go ahead and just check the time here. Perfect. I want us to come back to tabletop again. I'm going to take a quarter turn so I'm facing the camera. I'd like us to get a hip strengthening exercise here. I remember doing this long ago, so it's been a while since we've done this one. Because the movement is considerably bigger than most of our other movements, so control can easily be lost with this one. How do I describe this? When we take movements that are a lot bigger and quicker, we have to be very, very conscious of locking everything in. I mean, everything in our body. Even if I'm just moving my leg, I'm not going to try to lock my leg in. I mean, I am, yes, but I'm also going to lock my arms in. I'm going to lock my core in. I'm going to activate my chest and my back body. So just being aware of your entire self and not just the moving parts. Okay, so coming back to tabletop, remember the strong structure, the gripping hands, the knees are hip width apart. From here, I want you to take your right leg and stretch it back behind you. So cross it back and have the toes touch down. All right, so what we're going to be doing is strengthening our outer hip, but using our core for stability and balance. So this will be on an inhale, crossing back and reaching back with leg, toes tap down. When you breathe out, I'd like you to start to pull the knee towards your elbow. Then lift the leg out to its side and then kick. And then rebend the knee, stretch the leg back, tap the toes down. I'm going at a slower pace now just so you can get the movement here. So from this space, exhale, I start bending my knee, pulling it towards my elbow. As I do, I'm like kind of sweeping it out and around to the side. And then come back, bending knee, crossing back, touching down, breathe in. So those are 2 slow ones. We're going to do 4 more on pace. Exhale, belly strong, arm strong. Draw back on and inhale. Again, exhale, out to the side, and then pull it back. 2 more times. So try to prevent your body from shifting as best you can. It will happen a little bit, but the less, the better. 1 last time here. Extension out to the side. Keep it there, then pulse it upward, upward. For 3. Good. 2, 1, and then bring the knee back underneath its hip. Tuck your toes under. Push back to a quasi child's pose. So with the leg extended out to its side and trying to lift it away from the ground requires that outer hip muscle to really take over. Another thing here, particularly when we were pulsing, I want you to avoid shifting weight to the grounded leg because it'll be easier for this leg to move because the muscle doesn't take over anymore. This one does instead. So I got news for you. If you do that, know on the other side, when you start to move that leg, it's going to burn a lot quicker because you didn't even realize you were working this hip more when you were supposed to be working that hip more. So be mindful of the outward kick to really center your body as best you can. Yes, there's going to be a tad bit of movement. It's really tricky not to, but remember, like I mentioned, less movement, better for the muscles. All right, let's do the other side next. So your left leg, just cross it back, toes pointed, so just tapping them down. Oh, little doggy paws. So slow movement, 2 of them to start. We're going to pull the left knee towards the elbow. Then we're going to extend the leg out to its side. Pointed toes, again, to keep the muscles engaged. Cross back. Again, elbow to knee, kicking out to the side, and then drawing back again. 4 more at pace. Lift out of the arms, pull the belly in firm. Draw back. 2 more. 1 last time. Out to the side, hold it, pulse it. For 3, pulse up. 2, 1, and then take the knee down. Tuck the toes, push back to quasi child's pose. So we were, of course, strengthening moving part bodies, but we're also strengthening a lot of the non-moving part bodies as well. Okay. I want us to transition into our stomach side next. We have not done this one in a while, so I'd like us to work through a swan series. We work from baby swan to catch and release swan to rocking swan. So there's many different levels. You can, we'll go, up the ladder with that in terms of the rungs of difficulty. Finding a space where it can challenge you a bit, but not to the point to where it may cause discomfort or tension or strain or injury, right? So just be mindful, stopping where you feel it's best for your body and being okay with that. All right, so swan series. I'm gonna start on our stomach side. Starting with baby swan. So once you made your way on your stomach, your hands are underneath the shoulders, the arms hugged in close, the elbows point back towards your heels, and the forearms are lifted off the ground. If it looks like this in your body, the hands are too far back because the elbows are now pointing to the sky. Slide forward. If your arms look like this, your forearms and elbows are touching the floor, the hands are too far forward. So we have to find that sweet spot. Once we have, sometimes when we hug our arms in tight, we strain the shoulders up to our ears. So when the arms hug in tight, also pull the shoulder blades down your back. Stretch the crown of the head forward and rest your forehead on the floor. Baby swan. Your hands are grounded, yes. But you will never push off with your arms or your hand strength. What we're going to be focused on is the muscles between our shoulder blades and the muscles in our front body core. Let's take a breath in. Baby swan. Exhale, lifting head and heart, pressing your pubic bone and hip heads into the floor and drawing between your shoulder blades. Small lift. And then we'll come down on an inhale. Again, exhale. Imagine you're holding a tennis ball between your chin and chest the whole time, so that tennis ball never falls off. Come down on your breath in, and we're going to do 2 more of these before adding on. Good. Return down. Breathe in. One last time. As you peel up, feel the belly try to pull away from the ground. And then go ahead and let that release. Pause here. So we will be working next with almost like a seesaw movement here. So there's going to be a lift of the upper body, then there's going to be a lift of the lower body, and they're going to alternate in terms of movement. So we'll take an inhale now to lift the head and heart off the floor. As you exhale, the chest and head lower and the thighs lift off the ground. Squeeze your glutes, point your toes. Then lower the legs down as you inhale, the head and heart lift. So they'll start to move a little bit simultaneously here. Exhale, as you're lowering head and heart, you're lifting the thighs. 2 more of these. Lower the legs, lift the chest and head. Exhale, lower the head and chest, lift the legs. Once more, inhale, head and heart, find lift. Exhale as the head and heart lowers, the thighs lift up. And then go ahead and slowly lower your thighs to the floor. So with that movement, it's actually really important or a good idea to make sure your entire back body is active. Your upper back muscles, middle back muscles, lower back muscles, and your glutes. When you can stiffen up your whole body and concentrate it into like a tight torpedo, it's easy to keep the shape of your body. Then it's easy to move the parts. With that being said, we are going to move into catch and release. I'm going to first talk through it and demonstrate it, and then you can follow along afterwards. For this, the mention of keeping your body in the actual shape itself is going to be very key for this one. So your pelvic triangle, 2 hip bones and your pubic bone, very important. That is your anchor. When you actively push that part of your body into the floor, your glutes squeeze automatically. Your lower back and your middle back muscles start to activate. All right, so, and then that can help you just lift your head and chest part because this part is anchored down and supportive. Another thing you will be using is arm strength now for this. So I'm just explaining this in parts, so this isn't all together just yet. So you're going to use your arm power to lift up higher. However, the arms will never straighten out completely. Two things why, because it will lift your hips off the ground, which we never want, never want. And it really compresses the lower back also. We never, never want that. So they'll almost come up, but you're keeping those arms pinched tight and the elbows slightly bent because now my hips can stay on the ground. I have the shape of my body that I'm looking for with the safety of it. So essentially you want your body to be in this shape, this kind of banana boat U at a certain point in time. Feel the body locked out in that space. The shape of your body will be your momentum, which will help you to maneuver through. All right, so all this talking, let me show you what's going to happen. It's a catch and release, okay? So you're going to breathe in, dig the hips down, dig the heels of hands down, lift up head, heart, and belly. Hips are still grounded. When you breathe out, you're going to release your hands, shoot the arms forward, and because your body is shaped like this, you're going to naturally rock forward and your legs should naturally come up. And then because you kept the shape of your body, when you rock forward, there's only one other thing to do is rock back. So then you can slide your hands back underneath you and catch yourself, right? Catch, inhale, release, and catch, inhale. So remember the shape of your body, that banana boat shape, you should maintain the entire time through. Otherwise, thuds can happen. Thuds are not good. They don't feel good, right? But then we lose all structure. So let's try to do 4 total of these. Yes. So arms tight, fingers spread, pelvic triangle anchored. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, shoot out. Catch, release. Glutes are always fired up. Inhale here. 2 more. Last time. Good. Take it down slow. Gently press back into a child's pose. So we're doing a lot here. We're strengthening, like I mentioned, the back body because it's active the whole time. Upper body strengthener in the arms, of course, with the lift. And then just a little bit of cardio, not much. It's a subtle one, right? Gets the heart rate up just a little bit. All right, let me just check on time once more. Perfect. I want us to try rocking now. So it's very similar to the catch and release as the starting point, but then after the one release, you never come back to it. So like I again had mentioned, the shape of your body, the activation of your muscles the entire time is very, very key. You're never going to let that pelvic triangle let go. So make sure it's pressed in firm. I'll show you really briefly what it will look like. It's a challenging exercise. So really hug your legs together tight, squeeze your glutes, point your toes, squeeze between the shoulder blades, belly in, belly up. All of this at once. Pubic bone presses down. So we set it up. So I never lost my move, right? My breath was with me the whole time. The inhale gets a little stuck. It's tough to do. So try to sip it in as big and quick as you can and then really push that breath out with power. Do as many or as little as you like, but overall you probably will get no more than maybe like 8 tops if you'd like to really go for it. So go ahead and take a moment to either try this or say, you know what, this is not for me, and then go to another level that works for you. Take about 1 try with this or something other. And then take a child's pose to rest. Keep the legs together in your child's pose. It really helps to stretch more into your lower back. Come forward gently to a tabletop position. I'm going to stretch out the shoulders a little bit here. So on an inhale, I'd like you to take your right arm, sweep it out and up to the sky. When you breathe out, I'd like you to thread that arm underneath you, reach across the ground, and then slowly rest on the arm. Good. With your next inhale, plant your left hand to the floor, push off of it, unravel your body, sweep that arm back up to the sky. And then as you breathe out, return that hand to the floor. We'll do the other side. Left arm sweeping out and lifting up. Exhaling through, underneath. Keep it active, keep it reaching. Rest on the arm. Good. With your next inhale, right hand plants down, unravel, sweep left arm back up to the sky, and then exhale your hand to the earth. Beautiful. Let's transition next onto our backside. We're going to kind of bust through our ab series. So we're not going to take many breaks. I want us to really fire up our powerhouse. So we did a couple of them, or just maybe one of them kind of at the beginning, but we'll revisit it because we all want to go in order with these. So once you're on your backside, knees to chest, both hands on your right knee, your left leg extends away from the body. High to sky for modified, close to floor for intensification. Head can stay grounded or lifted up if you wish. If the head is up, sweep the elbows, drop the shoulders, eyes to navel. Inhale, switch the legs, and then exhale, switch again. So one breath, one movement we'll start with. Use the hands to kind of hug that one leg in as the other leg stretches away, so you feel the energy in opposite directions. If you want more heat, hands free behind the head, but make sure those elbows stay nice and wide. Your hands can come behind the head even if your head is grounded. Inhale to switch. Exhale. Now we'll pick up the pace. Switch twice on your inhale and then twice again on the exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. 4 more. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Breathe in. 2 more. Last one. Breathe in twice. Breathe out, switching twice. And then both knees in, head down. If it were lifted, recovery here. Take a deep breath in. Long breath out. We'll move right into our double leg stretch. That was our single leg, now our double leg. Knees to body, hands on knees, spine imprinted, head grounded or head lifted, your choice. Taking an inhale, extend the legs and arms away from your center. Exhale, circle arms around and pull the knees back in, coil to a ball. Reach away and expand, breathing in. Circle through, exhale. If your head is lifted for this, especially when the arms reach behind, make sure the head doesn't follow back, right? Fall back. So eyes glued to navel. Unless there is strain in your neck. Remember, if there is strain, taking the head back down, redirecting focus back to the core and relieving the tension. 4 more of these. 4. 3 more. 2 more. Last time, reaching away, pulling in, and then resting and recovery. Whew. Feel the burn in the section, right in the middle. All right, so moving right ahead, that was our double leg stretch. Single straight leg is next, also called our scissors. So it will be a stretch for the hamstrings again, as well as working the powerhouse. Legs to sky, pointed toes. Hold the back of your right leg with both hands. Begin to lower the left leg downward for a level that you can maintain. Head again grounded or lifted, your choosing. On a breath in, 2 pulses in with the right leg to body. Slowly switch it out with the exhale. Use that core power. Pulse in twice, breathing in. Switch it out, breathing out. Continue this movement here. Control is key. Subtle pauses with each pulse. Get a nice stretch in the backs of the legs. Shoulders drop away from ears, so plug, 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 in and down. 4 more cycles of breath. 4. Good. 3. 2 more. Last one. Good. Both legs to sky. Return down and rest. We got 2 more left to go. Overtime, I apologize. Double straight leg. Lower abdominals. You can have a little bend in your knees. Squeeze the legs together tight and use those arms. On an inhale, your legs are going to lower downward towards the floor, maybe a third of the way at best. Pull the lower belly in deep and slowly bring the legs back to stack again. It's going to feel like you're stopping short of your movement. Coming down with resistance. Lifting with core power. Let's take 4 more of these. 4. These ones are a little bit more challenging here. Hard area of the body to strengthen, so be mindful. 3 more. Twice more, coming down. Pulling up. Last time, inhale it towards the earth. Exhale it slowly to the sky. Once you have, knees to body, hands on knees, and a recovery moment here. We've got 1 more to go from our abs series. Let's take our feet to the ground. Knees and feet are hip width, ankles are beneath the knees. Interlaced fingers, hands behind head, and coming up to the tips of your shoulder blades. Just this lifted part we had has the movement. Everything else is stabilized. Take an inhale. Exhale, rotation of upper body to the right. Center when you breathe in. Take it to the left. Exhale. Center again, inhale. So you're going to continue to alternate the twists. Keep the arms wide. Keep the legs still so they don't shift from and try to counterbalance your body. We're working into the waistline, the obliques. If you want more heat, legs to tabletop, but hug them together so they don't move. Good. Inhale, center. Exhale, squeeze it out. Come back through. 2 more to each. 1 more each. And then rest, release, recover. Good. From here, you're going to rock yourself forward and back, up and down your spine until you rock yourself to seated. At seated, let's take the soles of feet together. The knees come out wide. Let's hold feet, ankles, or shins to sit up tall. Then you're going to hinge from the hips, maintain a flat back as you lean in closer to your legs. Then slowly begin to melt your lower back, your middle back folding, your upper back folding, and then gently let the head come forward. Even if you're in a rounded space here, you want to imagine that your heart we're trying to stretch beyond your toes to maintain some length. Let's do a couple more here. Breath in big. Breath out. 1 more time. Inhale it. Take your time to roll to seated on the exhale, restacking the spine. Make sure the head is the last thing that comes up. Once it has, crossing your legs, grounding your sits bones, lifting your heart to the sky. Arms are beside you with palms facing up. When you breathe in, take the arms, reach them out, lift them high to sky. Touch the hands above you, and then pull your hands to your heart space, exhaling. We'll do that twice more. Breathing in, sweeping down, reaching out and lifting up, connecting above, and then connecting within, exhaling. Last one. Inhale, gather up that energy, hold it above you, pull it within inside of you, hands stay at your heart, chin comes down to chest, eyes closed. Bow in, thank yourself for the time you carved out of your day to be here, for your presence, for your mindfulness, for your focus and concentration, for your practice, and for your dedication and motivation to your health and well-being and continuing to move your body. Thank you guys very much for tuning in again. Enjoy this recording, and I'll see you guys very soon. Enjoy the day, enjoy the weekend. Namaste.